What's up everybody, Bootsy Greenwood here, and I am going to be releasing sketches on this channel. I hope everybody's alright with that. I'm trying to do some new looks here, and I want to talk about something that's really important coming up for Thanksgiving, so let's get right into it. So as we've discussed before on the channel, really all we are is energy in the form of attention. Whatever you give your attention to, you're actively adding to, right? It seems like a simple idea, but it has huge implications. And I think that's why we often find ourselves in trouble, is because we're often provoked by thought forms, which are also called pendulums, egregores, or tulpas. Okay, and what these things are is pretty crazy, because in the quantum world, and this is very helpful, this helped me tremendously. In the quantum world, we have to understand that infinity is a thing. Now, if infinity is a thing, this has huge, huge implications. What does it mean if infinity is a thing? Mathematically, we went to school and we know that infinity is a thing. It is a real thing. That means we can't even conceive of it, right? That there is an infinite number of possibilities, there is an infinite number of ideas, realities, which means that everything already exists somewhere, okay? We don't know where this place is. It could be anywhere. It could be, you know, for our purposes, the model that we use, it's on the other side of the third dimensional reality. So I've drawn this a lot of times, okay? We've got the dream world, and we've got the physical world. They're both real, okay? Now in the dream world, that's where everything already exists in the dream world. In the physical world, you know, we're limited by what we've brought into existence here, okay? What's finite, like this paper and the camera that I'm using, and on and on and on, our language, different things like that. Well, a tulpa is like, I'm gonna draw this weird figure here, okay? And we're gonna call this thing Moriarty, okay? This is Moriarty here. And Moriarty existed before I drew him. He was always there. He was always in infinity, stored in the dream world, before I even conceptualized him or created him, okay? I didn't create him. He already existed, because infinity is real, right? So what this means is that whatever your goal is, or whatever you'd like to accomplish, it already exists too. Whatever the thing that you're trying to create or bring into the world, it already exists. It's stored already in the space variations. So there's no pressure for you to bring it into the world, okay? In the dream world, or in the infinite world, or the metaphysical, it's already there. So there's no stress or pressure. Whatever that thing is, it's already there. And that's why you can already have it. And that's why some people think, well, you have to act like you already have it. Well, if it's already there, then it's a little bit easier to conceive. You don't have to do all this work to bring it into the physical world, right? Or to at least conceptualize it. Now, as we go to Thanksgiving, I'm making this video almost as much for me as I am for anybody else. There are going to be a lot of energies, okay? And everything is energy. It can be boiled down to that in the dream space and the physical world, okay? There's energy behind everything. And one of these ideas of thought forms, or tulpas, or egregores, is that, you know, of course, where our attention goes, energy flows. And what Vadim Zealand, if you haven't read the book Reality Transurfing, I do recommend it. Pendulums, okay? And this is the same thing, the same idea. I'm going to draw, of course, a red and a blue swingy little ball thing. These are energetic informational structures. Now, Moriarty just became real in our world. He was always real. He was never not real. You know, Mickey Mouse is real. The Democratic Party is real. The Republican Party is real. Religions are real. And what happens is, now that I've drawn Moriarty, the more and more people that know about Moriarty, the more he becomes real in this world. We start to agree on him, and we start to add momentum, okay, to Moriarty's being, okay, that exists. The same is true with any energetic informational structure. This could be a sports team. This could be a religion. And what these things do is, if I start to obsess and identify with Moriarty, and I just think about Moriarty all day, and I just get really excited about Moriarty, and I can't wait for his next cartoon or whatever, we can bring any story we want to in the world to this. And all those stories already exist, but we choose. That's what choosing means, okay? And so I'm giving more and more of my identity over to Moriarty and becoming more and less myself, okay? And so the idea is to be your most authentic self. So if you're giving a bunch of energy to Moriarty, or to one of these pendulums over here, or egregores, or ideological informational structures, or thought forms, or whatever we want to call them, then we basically are giving up our individuality on behalf of an idea. Now that could be any idea. Keep this in mind. It could be your favorite sports team, and you buy all the logos and all of that kind of stuff. And the thing about these is they drain your energy, okay? Because that's all you are, energy in the form of attention. So the more that you give energy to this thought form or this thought form, the more you're giving your energy away to something else and losing your own identity. So the idea is to, instead of, obsessing over Moriarty, to find your own goal, find your own thing, learn about who you are, and start to put your attention and energy into that. That's what really investing in yourself is all about. It's about really focusing on who you are, what you want to bring into the world. Now, these thought forms, these energetic informational structures that exist in the dream space, and then they're represented by physical form in the third dimensional world, they get energy by our attention, right? So what do? They provoke us, okay? If Moriarty really wants my attention, then he is going to mess with me. He's going to push my buttons. And let's, Thanksgiving coming up, we're going to be at the dinner table. There's going to be a lot of talk. There's going to be a lot of talk about politics and religion and really all the things that you're not supposed to talk about. Those are the things that usually come up. I've ruined a few Thanksgiving dinners myself. But just keep in mind that these energetic informational structures are vying for your energy, okay? And what they will do is provoke you. And this could be like the tiniest thing. These are on a macro level, like news media, and a micro level, like, friends who just, they might give you some bad news, just blah, just blah, some negativity or some toxic poison to get your attention. Because love and hate are not opposites. They're both very powerful. They're very energetic. And what happens is somebody might tell you some really bad news in order to get your attention, your energy. And that's what energy vampires do. A lot of times it's not even conscious. It's just something that they don't know how to, create their own energy. So we need to bring our attention and our energy into our own self, creating a feedback loop into our thoughts and emotions, kind of like we talked about last time. And the more that we can focus on ourselves and not Moriarty or whatever pendulum, thought form, or egregore or tulpa that it is, the more power we're going to have. So we want to focus on the things that we want to experience that already exist in infinity, that we want to have in our world, that we can begin to focus on that, give our energy to that, and then that grows momentum. Okay, a lot of these that provoke are, I'm trying to think of the right word. They provoke, they're usually like an ultimatum, right? It's like you're either with us or you're against us. You either believe this or you're a so-and-so. You either are part of this group or you're part of that group. And they're ultimatums and they're false choices, frankly. Like, you don't have to identify with any of these. You don't have to be, you're either Moriarty's buddy or you're his enemy, right? Well, you don't have to be either one of those things. And that's a false choice that is provoking you into giving up your identity. So it's kind of hard to be your most authentic self. It's kind of hard to find your own goal and be who you truly are and give your gift to the world if you're caught up into one of these different ideological, informational structures. So when you're passing the gravy and somebody says something about something political, just let it pass, you know? You don't have to take that bait and let your energy get sucked away from you, okay? And you can also, I'm not saying don't stand up for yourself or what you believe. You can also talk about what you believe. Just be very careful, knowing that all you are is energy and in the form of attention. So if you are going to do that, you need to manage your relationship to that energy. Okay. Earlier, before I started making this video, there were blowers going off. I don't know where all these leaves are getting blown to every freaking day. And part of me just wants to come undone. But what good is that? Like, I lose my energy to this pendulum or thought form of a blower, a leaf blower, and I wind up yelling at some guy who's just trying to make a buck. You know, I know they're paid hourly because there's no way you can blow a yard that's like half an acre for 6 hours. You know what I'm saying? But I can't hate on it. And honestly, it actually worked out to my advantage. This is something to keep in mind as well. Advantage, advantage, advantage. There's always an advantage if we look for it, okay? Always an advantage if we look for it. Because I didn't have my camera settings right. I forgot to plug the microphone in. So had I gone ahead and done it with the blower, you know, and or took the bait and freaked out, then I would have probably messed up this video in doing so. So it's almost always easier looking back to see what the advantage was in a situation. But if we learn to increase that area between stimulus and response where free will is, then we can start to see the advantage in the moment. So when that gravy's being passed and that thing happens that flings up on you and triggers you to give your energy away to this thought form, keep in mind that there's an advantage there. If you keep your cool, usually the coolest person always wins an argument, right? And we don't want to argue anyway because it does nothing but put somebody else in that mindset and further their entrapment into their belief system and their BS. And it also alienates you and puts you in your own BS as well. So you pass the gravy, you say, oh, that's an interesting idea. Maybe you laugh it off, and maybe you say, well, send me a link about that, you know? And at that point, that person feels like they've been heard, and maybe, just maybe, they'll hear from you. Thanks, folks. That's going to do it. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving week. I have some big announcements coming up. I'm starting a coaching program that I will be taking just a few people for. Working on really hard on that. And I'll also, like I said, be posting some sketches and some comedy to this channel. So I hope that's okay, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.